So Kate, you've come to join us at St Abbs. Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm an illustrator and a vegan animal rights activist from Edinburgh, and I've come here to St Abbs Head to kind of give my perspective on how the animal agriculture industry and overfishing impacts seabirds and sea mammals. So I thought it was very topical for this space, especially because there's reports about specific seabirds that live here who are affected by the food that we choose to eat.
Yeah, of course, because we've got kittiwakes, we've got raised bills and everything down here, and they are suffering declines, as you say.
Yeah.
So, as a vegan activist, you're also involved in conservation. So,
well, I think that a lot of people, when they hear vegan activist or animal rights activist, they do think about just like the cows, the pigs, the chicken. But I think that the overlap is massive. Like, the animal agriculture is destroying habitat and polluting the oceans, and everything is interconnected. So I think that it's not just about the livestock animals. When you're a vegan activist, it is about wildlife and conservation and species extinction. So I think that, it's a conversation that involves all animals when we talk about vegan activism.
Yeah, because not only are we fishing them and kind of depleting the resources in that sense, but we're also causing significant declines to them as well with
absolutely.
Like plastic.
Yeah, it's very topical at the minute, the plastic in the ocean, and I think there's a big focus on single-use items like plastic bags and straws, but I think a lot of people don't realise that almost like half of the plastic that's in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is fishing nets, and it's just like hundreds of thousands of tons of fishing equipment is left in the ocean every year. And I think it's hard because I feel like plastic bags and single-use plastic items, they're not something that people feel like an emotional or nostalgic affinity to, whereas like fish and chips or like meals with seafood in, like my favourite meal as a child was like linguine with like mussels, and it's like we have emotional attachments to food, so it can be a lot more uncomfortable and awkward to talk about. But I think that we need to have those conversations because like we need to take drastic measures, and if it takes a few like weird, awkward, sad confrontations to get there, I think it's worth it, because like they need to be free from plastic, and they need to have more food, more than we need to have fish and chips and sushi.
But on another note, your artwork.
Oh,
I would love to see some. Have you brought any with you?
I've got a few pieces. I did a very small illustration series of just 3 pieces that were to do with overfishing of the oceans and bycatch. So I've got one here. Shall I hold it up?
Yeah, give it.
So this one's about. It's quite, again, because we've just seen a minke whale and porpoises out there, so it's all the same conversations that are interconnected. Sorry, I don't really know what I'm saying right now. So yeah, about how the true cost of the seafood items that we eat, and it's not only the fish that suffer, it's marine mammals, it's seabirds. There's a final one as well, which is about
I've seen this
sharks.
is my favourite.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely obsessed with sharks, and of course people don't know with fish and chips and things like that you can actually be eating shark.
People think about like shark fin soup and people that are catching sharks like hundreds of miles away, but they don't realise that when you eat like fish in the UK, all the casualties that have had to come because of that choice. And as I said, like fishing nets do not discriminate against between species when they're sweeping the oceans, and
shark bycatch is a huge issue.
Yeah, it's quite terrifying.
Yeah,
50 million every year. It's like you can't even fathom it.
Well, thank you very, very much, and thank you for showing me these.
Thank you very much.
Just keep going. It's brilliant.